I've always just believed, like, you don't know what your job is, but whatever it is you're doing right now, you just need to be good at it. And yeah, you can take that into a clubhouse, and the players, if they accept that and they buy into that, we're going to have success.
JJ Picollo, who runs the front office for the Kansas City Royals. JJ, great to have you back on, and perfect timing, of course, coming off the trade deadline. Did you have fun? Did you enjoy your trade deadline experience?
Well, it had its moments. I think at the end we were happy, but along the way there were some bumps in the road. But it was a good experience. Certainly different for us this year, being buyers rather than sellers. So I think we all enjoyed that.
Talk about those differences, because you've had both. You've sold pieces. You've picked up Cole Reagans, and then you picked up half a team over the trade deadline. So, talk about those differences and the positives and negatives of both.
Well, the positives clearly that the team's in a good spot when you're a buyer. I mean, no question about it. And you can be a little bit more specific as far as what the needs of the club were. So this year it was, bullpen. We were going to need some help in the bullpen. We wanted another right-handed bat. And really the Michael Lorenzen acquisition was just nice to be able to do. It gave us a lot of protection with a veteran guy who's been an all-star. He's been in playoffs. So, that wasn't high on the priority list, but we were opportunistic when it was there for us. So that was enjoyable. You kind of knew who the pool of players were. You stayed with it. Where when you're a seller, you don't know where it's going to come or how much value you're going to get back for whatever player it may be. You're always trying to do your best, but when's the right time to pull the trigger? Last year, Texas was very aggressive in trying to address their bullpen about a month before the deadline, and we knew we were going to need starting pitching. So we like Cole Reagans a lot. He's exceeded expectations. He's been outstanding. But at the time, it was really a need the organization had. So acquiring a starting pitcher was a priority. Texas just wanted to move quickly. But what that did for us, it allowed us to focus on other players that we thought we were going to move at the deadline. So very different feelings on both ends. But as I've said, I'd rather be a buyer than a seller.
Hey, JJ, Cam Maben here, and you talk about being a buyer, and personally I feel like you've been a buyer since the offseason. We're going back to the winter meetings, and I watched a couple of your interviews, and one thing you really talked about targeting was veteran leadership, and I think you guys did a great job of going out, finding the right type of veterans to mix in with that young youthful core. How do you feel like that veteran leadership, those additions have really helped bolster the mindset, the culture of that clubhouse?
Well, it's changed it quite a bit. The culture is completely different. We had really good guys. Of course, we've had Salvy for a long time, and Salvy leads that clubhouse. But between he and Bobby and some of the other young players we had on the club, there was a lot of pressure on just a few people. So, being very specific with what we wanted out of the free agents that we were going after. When I say being specific, guys that had been in the playoffs, guys that had great reputations in the game, just to help the younger players come along. And it's worked incredibly well. If there's a strength of our team, or the greatest strength of our team, I might say our clubhouse right now. I think we do a lot of things well, but it's a fun place to be. The guys are great. And even the four guys that we just added over the last couple of weeks, they've fit in exceptionally well also. So that's a big part of it. You guys know that. You guys have been in the game, and when you're coming into a clubhouse that is clicking on all cylinders, they pull for one another, they put the team ahead of themselves, you really can't go wrong. You don't know what the results will be, but you have a better chance to get the results you're searching for when you have those types of personalities.
Do you fear that in the trade market? Because the more people you bring in, the better chance you find a turd that's going to ruin that clubhouse. So do you fear that and that pushes you away? Or do you say, no, we got this guy, we have our Will Smith in here. How do you guys handle that?
Well, I think our clubhouse, because it was strong, we could have taken some risk, but we wanted guys that would fit. We wanted guys that would accept a role and understand that this is about the team. Hunter Harvey and Lucas Erceg are great examples. They both have the ability to close, but they understand that some nights it might be the seventh inning, some nights it might be the eighth, some nights it might be the ninth, and somebody else is going to help them finish games off. Paul DeYoung was the same way. He understands Bobby Witt Jr. is our shortstop. He's going to play third base. We're working him out at second base. We might work him out in left, but he was wide open to it. So when you have guys that, I'll just say they're winners, when you have winners and you're adding it to another group or a larger group of winners, that's for me the safest way to go. And I didn't want to take any risk. And when I say I mean our entire front office didn't want to take any risk that we would lose something that was a strength, and that's our clubhouse.
Talking to you at the Royals 10-year anniversary that we had, it's just, I feel that environment, and I feel like I know you guys care about these moves, but you also care about your farm system. You also care about not giving up too much. How much does the ask for a player decrease as you get closer to the trade deadline? Because you guys went out and got Hunter Harvey, and you were one of the first to move. You guys got Cole Reagans for Aroldis Chapman, who is now an all-star this year, a month ahead of time. How much does that decrease as you get closer, or does it increase, the ask for other teams?
Yeah, well, I think we've seen it both ways, really. I think there were some players right there at the end that the selling club made out really well. Deals that we would not have made. But we understand it. Everybody's in a different spot, and then there's some guys that went off the board that you look back, it's like maybe we should have struck early and we could have gotten that player for a similar return. So I think it goes both ways. It's a little bit of a guessing game too, and what we do, we respect what other front offices are trying to do. We don't know what their agenda is. You got ownership involved. You've got a lot of people sitting in the room with you, so you get pulled in a lot of different directions. I respect what every general manager has to go through, and in the end, we'll know in maybe at the end of the season for the buyers, and then for the sellers, it might be 4 or 5 years down the road where we really know how these deals really shaped up.
I continue to hear you, say this quote that I really like. Whatever you are, be good at it. And I think when I'm watching, have you taken that quote? I think it's an Abe Lincoln quote. Have you taken that quote and have you used that mantra to put this team together? Because when I watch this team now, you see so many guys being good at what they should be good at instead of trying to be Bobby Witt. Instead of trying to be Vinny Pasquantino or trying to be anybody else. I see a lot of guys starting to understand who they are as players. Is that mindset, is that mantra, is that quote something that's helped you build what you guys are building right now?
Yeah, I think the guys you mentioned and others, they are acting that way. Whatever your role on this team is, be really, really good at it. And that's really helpful to us. That was something that was shared with me by my mother when I graduated college. And, just from a personal standpoint, I've always just believed, like, you don't know what your job is, but whatever it is you're doing right now, you just need to be good at it. And yeah, you can take that into a clubhouse, and the players, if they accept that and they buy into that, we're going to have success. Any team will have success. And, early on here with guys that are in different roles, they've been outstanding and just accepting that this is what the team needs me to do right now, and I'm going to go do it to the best of my abilities.
JJ, now that it's passed, is there anything that you were working on that you couldn't get done that you're looking back at like, damn, we got close, or, a player you went after that you got outbid on? Like, obviously, Brian Cashman talked the other day about how they were going after Flaherty. They ended up, not meeting the asking price for a number of reasons. Did you have anyone in mind? Obviously, would love if you can share a name, but even if not, like, can give us a hint of what you were doing?
Yeah, well, one of the areas we thought we needed to improve was to have more flexibility in the outfield with another right-handed bat. We also were looking for on-base oriented guys. We do a good job putting the ball in play. Our strikeout rates are low, but I'd like to see some guys get on base a little bit more before Bobby gets up and Vinny and Salvy get up. You like to get a few more guys on base, but the deal wasn't there. We started to realize it probably Monday night. The deals, or the players we were looking at, probably weren't going to fit the bill for us, whether the asking price was too high or some of them ended up not getting traded. So we were involved in those talks. I wouldn't say, I mean, I wish I could tell you that there was a deal that was about to happen and it didn't. We didn't get to that extent. I think we pulled back at the right times and started setting our sights on other players. And some just never came around. They just didn't happen. We were just not on the same page with whatever team it would be. So I think we're pretty satisfied. Paul DeYoung being right-handed, we still were able to fit that right-handed need. It's positionally, we were thinking some versatility in the outfield as well. But I think we made out okay. I'm glad we've got these players. I think our team's deeper. I think we've protected ourselves. Now we'll just have to let it play out. I think we have 52 left.
52, jeez. Feels like the season just started. But talk about trading within the division. Like, you always hear that. It's always like the caveat, oh, it's so tough to get it done. Talk about that from your standpoint, because you've been on both sides. You were on the selling side last year and the buying side this year.
Yeah. We're not fearful of trading in division, especially in the offseason. I think in the offseason, everybody's just trying to put their teams together. So, two teams we did not talk to was Cleveland and Minnesota. They're the two teams we didn't talk to, and I don't think they wanted to talk to us. And that's a respect. We're both trying to, or all three of us are trying to win the division and get in the playoffs. But last year we were open to anything because we were sellers. We weren't overly concerned with trading in division. You pay attention. I will say you do pay attention to how many years of control that player has that you're sending in division. Because if you're a seller, this isn't your year. But next year, why can't it be your year? So you don't want to help your competition with guys that have more years of control. And, of course, it's almost a sliding scale. If it's one more year of control, okay, we can deal with that. If it's 2 to 4, all right, now he may beat our tails, for the next 3 or 4 years, and we don't want that.
One more follow-up on this. When you were in sell mode before this, did you feel like you needed to get more in a deal? The reason I bring it up is we had a writer on yesterday, very plugged in with the Twins, who was telling us that they're talking to the White Sox and they feel like they're asking them for their top, couple guys, and then they end up trading away some of those players for what's looked at as lower ranked players. So do you come across that, or did you guys look at it that way and say, hey, if we're going to give this guy away, right, or if we're going to trade for this guy, we want to make sure that, we're not facing Team X and we have to deal with it for 6 years,
Yeah, so last year, there was a case where I think we probably waited too long and maybe didn't get as much as we thought we would have gotten or could have gotten a couple of days before. It was a calculated risk. The couple days before, we weren't crazy about the deal, but it was a deal that may have ended up being better than the one we made. So you just got to try to weigh things out and weigh the market out. The other thing is the supply and demand. I mean, if there's a lot of supply, you're probably not going to make out as well as you like to. If there's a demand, say on a first baseman. I'll use a first baseman as an example. If there's 5 teams looking for a first baseman, there's only 2 of them out there. Well, you're probably going to make out pretty well. So you got to have an understanding of what the landscape is across the league, and then just again make the best guesstimate of this is going to be the best return. And like I said, last year, I think we might have made out a tick better if we had moved sooner. But ultimately, we still got some players we liked and are doing well.
Hey, I think we would catch a lot of flack if we let you go without talking about one of the guys who has had a special season. He's a special player. You hear a lot about Aaron Judge, a lot about Juan Soto, but Bobby Witt Jr., from start to where we are now, has been, in my eyes, maybe the most consistent player in the game. The leaps and bounds that he's taken defensively, offensively, his ability, I consider myself a great athlete. This dude is on a different level. How special has it been, and how important was it for you guys to go back, when we go back and getting that deal done, to make sure you kept Bobby Witt in Kansas City for a long, long time?
Well, that was the top priority last offseason. Didn't know if it was going to happen or not, but it was the top priority because we felt like he, had this type of upside to him. You're looking at a guy that's probably going to be contending for MVPs for many, many years. He can do anything on the baseball field, from fielding to throwing to running to hitting. I mean, he does it all. Monday night we were in Chicago, and I can't recall seeing a baseball player take a game over the way he did, a position player. He came up late in the game when we were down. We weren't playing real well that night. He came up. We got some guys on base in front of him. He hits a grand slam on the first pitch, and then he goes out and finishes the game with 2 diving plays. I mean, just big-time highlight plays. And all I could think of was Michael Jordan. Like, this was like watching Michael Jordan take over a basketball game in the last 2 minutes. You just don't see it in baseball. But his instincts are off the charts. His character's off the charts. I mean, he treats everybody else like they're the best player. I think one of the neatest things that's happened to the Kansas City Royals is the way Salvy has embraced him and in a lot of ways just handed the team over to him, saying, you're the future. I had my day, you're the future. But they work so well together. It's a really, really fun thing to watch. And you don't want to miss him play a game because you just don't know what you're going to see night to night. I've never been associated with a player that is this talented in so many areas of the game.
Salvy was that leader. There was a report by Ken Rosenthal that he was available last year. Obviously, hindsight, glad he's still around. He's having a decent year for Salvy. But how did that go down from not just the teams that were asking about him, but how you discuss that with Salvy, somebody who has been signed to 3 different extensions, somebody who has a World Series MVP and is entrenched in this organization?
Yeah, fortunately, Salvy was the one that initiated the conversation. He asked to meet with me and Renee Francisco, our senior VP of Major League and International Operations. He asked to meet with us, and he just point blank asked us, what are the chances? Can we win next year? What are the chances we can win? And we were very honest with him that a lot of things are going to have to go right. We told him we were going to work to add to this club. And at that point, what was obvious to us is Salvy wanted to win, and he knows where he is in his career. So he became more open-minded to potentially being traded. And I think it was just the relationship that he's had with so many people in this organization over many years that you can have that type of conversation. We are very, very, very happy that he's here. And, it's the old Branch Rickey saying, some of the best trades you make are the ones that you didn't. That nothing ever really came like so close that Salvy was almost with another club, but it was something we were discussing with a couple teams at the time. And, it was with Salvy's blessing. He had the right to be traded or not. But there was also an understanding that, we're going to, if this doesn't happen, we're going to go out and do anything and everything we can to help our team so you can go out on top and be a part of another winner.
I've got one more for you on a player you just acquired, Lucas Erceg. I love the acquisition. He is an incredible story, too, for people to look up, like what he went through and how he's ended up at this spot. And he's still kind of learning how to pitch. So what's your evaluation of him? Because you're going to have him for a long time now under team control. And is there a possibility, not now, but in the future, that he could potentially try starting pitching? Because I think he's got the makeup and the arsenal to be able to do it if he's into it. I don't want to, put words in the organization's mouth, but, maybe in 2025.
Well, you're always open to guys being starters. I think from our perspective, when we looked at our team this year and even going into 25, 26, and we've got him under control through 29, we were going to have to address our bullpen. We have a couple guys who have expiring contracts. So we knew that was going to be a priority this offseason. So he fit the bill. So for now, we see him as a closer. Love the arsenal that he has. It's a big fastball. It's a really good changeup. It's a plus slider. He came in his first game the other day, and it was very apparent to our coaching staff. This guy, he is on the attack. I mean, it was strike after strike coming right at hitters. And Kratzy, when you were here in Kansas City, you were in the middle of like what you saw as a succession plan in closers. We went from Octavio Dotel to Joaquin Soria to Holland to Davis. that's something we're trying to create here, and we're hoping with Hunter Harvey and Lucas, we can, get into that type of processing, and we end up with a closer with Lucas in due time. So we're just, thankful we got him. He fit everything we were looking for from bullpen perspective, years of control. So it was a tough trade to make because we gave up some pretty good players, but we do feel like we can, compete not only this year, years to come, and that was something we needed. So we're happy to have him.
So he's not the closer yet, but
well, he hasn't pitched yet, but he's the closer.
That's what I mean. The next time he pitches, do you want to just throw him right into the closer role?
He's the ninth inning guy, right?
Well, that's the plan in time. We got Hunter Harvey as well, and same thought when we acquired Hunter Harvey. We were thinking we got get Hunter Harvey. Eventually he's going to close for this team. And I do want to say, with no disrespect at all to James MacArthur, he's been great for us. We've just put him in a tough spot. He's a rookie, and we've got him thrown the ninth inning, and that's a hard thing to do. So it's not, by no means have we given up on James MacArthur. We love his upside and his ability as well. Hopefully now, between the three of those guys, we can really finish games efficiently.
Awesome. Yeah. Well, we love the pickups. Now, it's got the Kelvin Herrera, Wade Davis, Greg Holland vibes.
Yes.
Different arsenal. But whatever.
Electric. Those dudes are electric at the back.
I knew I'd get a good answer. I knew I'd get a good reaction from these guys, but I love it. JJ, this was awesome. Thank you so much for joining us post-trade deadline. Hopefully you got some rest. Loved the moves, and good luck here down the stretch.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate the time on the air, and best of luck to you.
Hey, FT fam, it's Alana Rizzo. I can't stop talking about Vuori. Vuori is perfect if you are sick and tired of traditional old workout gear. I wear Vuori in all settings, not just in the gym, because honestly, it's comfier than whatever you're currently wearing. No joke. I'm wearing Vuori daily leggings right now. They're high-waisted with the drawstring and cupped ankles. They look good and they feel great. You're going to love them. Vuori is an investment in your happiness. For our listeners, they are offering 20% off your first purchase. Get yourself some of the most comfortable and versatile clothing on the planet at vuori.com/foul. That's VUORI.com/foul. Not only will you receive 20% off your first purchase, but enjoy free shipping on any U.S. orders over $75 and free returns. Go to vuori.com/foul and discover the versatility of Vuori clothing.
Hey everybody, be sure to like and subscribe for more content.
We're back here every weekday, all year long, so do not miss an episode.
The videos are coming in all day. Here's another video you might enjoy.
Baseball the way it should be covered.